What's good with y'all, man? It's CT Hazy, and today I'll be ranking the top 3 teams to use in NBA 2K21 Tier 3 this year. But before we get into the video, please consider dropping a like as it takes me a while to make these. And if you're new to the channel and enjoy PlayNow Online content, please consider smashing that subscribe button as we are on the road to 700 subs. It's completely free and it'll mean the world to me. And lastly, if you want to get to know me and see me play live on Twitch, make sure you get there. I'll leave the link down below. Now without further ado, y'all, let's get right into it. Alright, real quick before we get into the video, comment down below your top 3 teams to use in Tier 3 before you hear mine. Alright y'all, so coming in at number 3 on my top 3 teams to use list for Tier 3 is the Atlanta Hawks, y'all. So this team right here, man, like, they're probably, you can argue that they're the best offensive team out of the 3 teams on this list, at least for me personally, that they are the best offensive team. However, the biggest downfall I would say to this team that weighs them down is their defense, y'all, their defense. So let's start into it. The 5-man lineup that I like to run is Cam Reddish at the 1, Kevin Huerter at the 2, Trae Young at the 3, DeAndre Hunter at the 4, and John Collins at the 5. Now that's a deadly lineup in terms of offense. However, after playing with them all year long in Tier 3, I've ran into a lot of problems, and the biggest flaw I would say with that lineup that I run is their rebounding and defense, y'all, especially down low, because John Collins is not very good at defense and rebounding in 2K at least. So there's times where I will take him out for Capella, which obviously helps a lot on the defensive end, but then you can't go 5 out with that team. And for me personally, I like to run that 5 out offense, that Hawks 2018 freelance, and I like to go crazy with Trae Young. And if anyone wants to help off, they can't really help off because the majority of them can shoot. Another guy that can't really shoot though in that lineup that I like to use is Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish isn't really a good 3-point shooter. He's just not a very reliable shooter from the 3-point line. However, I will say Cam Reddish is a lockdown defender. I put Cam Reddish on the primary ball handler of every single opponent I face when I use this Hawks team. Then on the secondary, I'll put DeAndre Hunter, so typically the shooting guard or the second best player bringing the ball up, and then I'll hide Trae Young and have him guard the small forward, as long as he's just a guy that stands in the corner and he's not like LeBron.
Another one.
And then I'll have Kevin Huerter actually guard the power forward, and then obviously John Collins switching off between him and Capella guarding their 5. Now in the offensive end, y'all, if you know how to dribble well decently enough, like I ain't the best dribble head, but as long as you know how to speed boost and use some moves to run around screens with Trae, he will go crazy and cook for y'all. Like, I promise y'all, he will go crazy. You just got to run everything. You can run everything through Trae and win and get by with a lot of wins against most opponents in PlayNow Online. But let's start off with John Collins. I like John Collins at the 5 because he stretches the floor out, and he's also fast. On a fast break, like, he gets out and running, and he can run and catch lobs. Not only that, you can pick and fade with him, and he can go to the 3-point line, or if they want to sag off and paint sit with a center, he can't do that, because as long as you have his release down, he is knocked down. And he has 2 hotspots, I believe, from the top and the right wing in terms of 3-pointers. Now moving on to the power forward, DeAndre Hunter. I love DeAndre Hunter too because he's a 3-and-D type of player. So like I said in the beginning, I like to put him in the secondary ball handler, and I'll have him guard the second best player because he has good defensive stats and badges and all that stuff. And he's pretty big. Like, he has a good build, and he's 6'8". He's listed as 6'8" in 2K. Him and Cam Reddish are damn near clones. However, I use DeAndre Hunter more in terms of shooting, at least. He has a nice release. It's water. You just got to get it down, get it down to a T, practice it and shoot around. I like it a lot. Just make sure you turn off your meter, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And then same thing with Kevin Huerter is just a floor spacer for me. He doesn't really do much other than just shoot the ball when he's wide open. His dribble six ain't the best, but what I do like about him is, although he's not a great defender stat wise and badge wise, he's 6'7", y'all, so he has length, so he can hold his own as long as you put him on someone like the 3rd best player, or even the power forward, small forward or power forward, essentially. Just hide him on defense and he will be fine, y'all. You won't notice a thing. Obviously, we already went over Cam Reddish, and lastly, Trae Young, y'all. Trae Young is an 87 overall. He's 6'1", and that's one of his biggest downfalls, and his defense is horrendous. It's abysmal. So you got to hide him as well, him and Kevin Huerter. But obviously you want to hide him more than Kevin Huerter, because Kevin Huerter at least got that 6'7" length, while as Trae Young's only 6'1". And if you look at his stats, his lateral quickness is only a 70, and his perimeter defense is a 55, y'all. But however, on the contrary, he does make it up, like I said earlier, on the offensive end, because he's just an offensive juggernaut. Coming up at number 2 on this list is the Sacramento Kings, y'all. Man, this team has been my team for majority of the year for Tier 3. I love this team in 2K and IRF. You know me, I'm a big Kings fan, but let's get back to the subject at hand. This team, man, I would have put them at number 1, but I've just run into opponents that know how to use the just as well as I know how to use the Kings, and always comes down to a close game. And this was just the other day. This is pretty recent too. And I'm telling y'all, we'll get into who's the next team after this. That's a lot of foreshadowing. But back to the Sacramento Kings. I love this team, y'all. This is a super fun team to use. One of the most slept on teams to use, I feel like, in 2K. So the 5-man lineup that I like to run is De'Aaron Fox at the 1, Tyrese Halliburton at the 2, Buddy Hield at the 3, Harrison Barnes at the 4, and Hassan Whiteside at the 5. So we'll start off with Hassan Whiteside in his role. He's really just a rim running, lob catching lobs and playing defense type of center. He does rebound the ball pretty well. He's really solid on the defensive end. He'll hold it down in the paint for you. Moving on to Harrison Barnes at the 4. I take out Bagley because although Bagley's 6'11 and Barnes is only 6'8, Barnes can stretch the floor, y'all. He has a hot spot in, I believe, the left corner. However, he does have a cold spot in that right corner, which does kill him because it's just those cold spots be killing. But he does have an 81 overall 3-point rating, and his release is okay. It's kind of slow, but if you get it down, it's pretty decent. I mean, I wouldn't say it's water, it's not knocked down, but it's solid enough to stretch the floor way more than as opposed to Marvin Bagley. And I like him more because he's faster than Bagley. Bagley be selling me sometimes, so I can't run with two bigs that can't shoot. Now coming up at the number 3 spot, small 4 spot, is Buddy Hield. I love Buddy Hield. If you know me, if you watched my gameplay on him a couple months ago, he go crazy, yo. Like, his release is stupid fast. Like, and there's some times where he'll bail you out as long as you get his release, time his release down. You can have a defender in your face and he'll still get a wide open shot, just because I just think it's because his release is so fast, it's so glitchy that the contest system, it kind of breaks it because of how fast that release is. So just get his release down, he's water. If we look at his stats and badges, and he's only 77 overall, which is crazy to me, and his 3-point rating is only an 83. But I promise y'all, he feels like it feels like his 3-point rating is like a 90s. If we tap into his badges, he has 16 shooting badges, y'all. That's solid. However, he is really a terrible defender, y'all. So you gotta hide this man on defense. Now let's move on to the shooting guard, Tyrese Halliburton. Man, I'm a big fan of Tyrese Halliburton IRL. In 2K, his release, it isn't the best. It's a little weird to me. Nope. Like, he's kind of like a Kevin Huerter. If y'all remember what I was talking about when I was diving into the hots. He literally just shoots threes. However, I will say he's a better defender than Kevin Huerter. So he's really like a 3-and-D player. However, he's not a better defender than Fox, but he will hold it down for you if you put him on the secondary ball handler. So just put him on most shooting guards and he'll be fine pressuring the ball up the court if you go to a full court man. And then last but not least, moving on to the best player of this Kings team, which is pretty obvious, is De'Aaron Fox. Just run your 5-out freelance, y'all. If you haven't tapped in with that tutorial, go tap in with that. He goes crazy, y'all. He literally moves like a crackhead. Like, it's so hard to defend him. If only they had a center that could stretch the floor, this team would be way more deadly, because Hassan Whiteside kind of kills this floor spacing. Guys can easily just paint it with off of Hassan Whiteside. But nonetheless, you can still get it done with Fox. Run around screens and still go to the rim or throw lobs. He'll still get it done. And you still have 3 shooters on the outside if you run a pick and roll with Hassan Whiteside. You run your offense majority of times through Fox, and I promise you, a lot of positive things will result from it. Coming in at number 1 is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans, y'all. I hate to say, I really wanted the Kings to be number 1 on this list, but after using both of these teams all year long, I've just come to the conclusion that it's the Pelicans, y'all. Number 1, hands down, and tier 3 is the Pelicans, y'all. There's no way you can't put them lower than any other team. So let's dive into it. The 5-man lineup that I like to run is Lonzo Ball at the 1, Zion at the 2, Bledsoe at the 3, Brandon Ingram at the 4, and Steven Adams at the 5. So let's start off with Steven Adams. His role is really similar to Hassan Whiteside. He literally just sets screens, catches lobs, plays defense, and rebounds the ball. That's it. He can't stretch the floor at all, so don't shoot with that, man. Moving on to the power forward spot, I put Brandon Ingram there. Brandon Ingram is nice, y'all. I love Brandon Ingram. He's listed at 6'8". I believe they had him shorter to start the year. He's like 6'6" or 6'7". I don't know why 2K be tweaking, because that man should be 6'9" down here. But nonetheless, he has an 83 3-ball, y'all, and he has 28 over badges, and half of those badges are 14 on shooting, y'all. Like, I love the way how he can move, and on top of that, he has a smooth release, y'all. Y'all will see what I'm talking about if you haven't really used Brandon Ingram like that. I like to set he's my designated shooter. I like to run all my shooting plays for Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram is solid on the offensive end. He's the best shooter on this team, hands down, for me at least. And then defensively, I like to put him on the small forward or power forward. Moving on to the small forward spot is Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe is literally just a pest on the defensive end. I put him on the secondary ball handler, though. I don't put him on the primary guy because he's only 6'1". But he does have the best defensive stats and ratings and badges on this team, I believe, even over Lonzo. Yeah, because he has gold clamps, whereas Lonzo only has silver clamps. However, I still put Lonzo on the primary ball handler. So Bledsoe is really there just to play defense, kind of slash to the rim a little bit, but not really. Bledsoe is like the least guy I use. Between him and Adams is close, who I don't really use on the offensive end. Now moving on to the point guard position is Lonzo Ball. I love Lonzo Ball in this game. He's 6'6", and he has good defensive stats and badges. I put him on the primary ball handler, so if you're going up against the Warriors or the Mavericks, put him on Luka or Steph, and he will beat them up. If you go full court man or even that 2-3 zone blitz defense, he'll beat them up the court. He's 6'6", he's got a good build, and on top of that, he has an 81 3 ball, and he has 2 hot spots at the top of the key and the right corner, y'all. So he's a good spot up shooter. I would definitely not quick stop off of the 3-point line with him. However, in a catch and shoot situation, when he's not blinking red, he's knocked down, especially after they gave him his old release back where he brings that ball across his face to his left shoulder. I love that release way more than the release he had earlier to begin the year. Put Lonzo at your 1 and put him on the primary ball handler. Last but not least, the best player on this team is Zion Williamson, y'all. This dude is OD. Like, it's insane how the type of animations he gets when he's slashing to the rim, especially when he has that takeover, y'all. Once he gets that takeover, it's wraps. Like, there's no stopping him. Once you go to the rim and just flick that right stick up, it's over. If we look at his badges, he has fast break finisher on Hall of Fame, and on top of that, he has that gold Showtime, y'all. That's a huge badge to account for when in terms of finishing. That Showtime badge just go crazy in terms of building up that team takeover. But yeah, I like to get him. I like to run him at my 2 guard because when I run that 2-3 zone blitz defense, I like to leak out with him and beat up dudes with him and Lonzo up. Like, can you just imagine a 6'7" big ass dude in Zion Williamson and a 6'6" guard in Lonzo just beating up opponents up the court? Like, that's just hell for your opponents. On top of that, throwing lobs with Lonzo to Zion is just crazy unguardable. So on the defensive end, I like to put Zion on the power forward just because of his defensive badges. He has those big man type of defensive badges. Definitely put him like on a Giannis type of player, or just someone that gets a lot of rebounds or slashes to the rim as a power forward. All right, y'all, comment down below. I want to hear all y'all thoughts, man. Are y'all feeling my top 3 list in terms of tier 3 teams to use in 2K? But all right then, y'all, that is gonna wrap up this video. Hope y'all dig it. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, as we are on the road to 700 subs. It's completely free and it'll make my day. And as always, I appreciate every single one of y'all, and much love.